Russian ships, tanks and troops on the move to Ukraine as peace talks stall.
Here's a summary of the article.
Russia has sent troops more than 4,000 miles to Ukraine's borders and announced sweeping naval drills as Moscow expands its preparations for a potential attack on Ukraine as negotiations appear at a deadlock. 6 Russian landing ships capable of carrying main battle tanks, troops and other military vehicles traveled through the channel en route to the Mediterranean last week in a deployment that could bolster an amphibious landing on Ukraine's southern coast if Vladimir Putin orders an attack. Ukraine's military intelligence has claimed that Russia is hiring mercenaries and supplying its proxy forces in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions with fuel, tanks and self-propelled artillery in preparation for a potential upsurge in fighting. A large military force, including Iskander short-range ballistic missiles, elite Spetsnaz troops and anti-aircraft batteries, has arrived in Belarus from Russia's eastern military district, an extraordinary deployment that Western officials and analysts say could enable Moscow to threaten Kiev, Ukraine's capital. As Russia's buildup nears completion, US and European countries have stepped up military support for Ukraine. Mi-17 transport helicopters originally meant for use in Afghanistan to Ukraine instead. Belarus mapped the decision to fast-track arms to Ukraine reflects an understanding that Russia could launch an attack at any moment. If the purpose is to compel Ukraine's leadership, then a ground invasion only makes sense if it puts Ukraine in a more untenable or threatened position. Neither a land bridge nor an operation in Odessa would likely achieve that result, but an offensive towards Kiev could, wrote Rob Lee, a former U.S. Marine and a fellow in the Foreign Policy Research Institute's Eurasia program, in an analysis.
This post received a score of 32,000, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I swear we are not invading Putin as he moves additional forces to the border of a country that isn't capable of attacking them.
It reminds me of Family Guy where Peter is loading the shotgun and just keeps saying, "I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him."
This scene, for reference.
I never caught the "I just want to shoot him" snuck in there before.
I wonder what the Russian troops on the front lines think about all this?
98% will want to go home, 1% will be indifferent, 1% will be having a good time. That's the normal ratio for any army. The 2% are a mix of sociopaths and psychopaths.
Add cold. They are cold, and probably don't want to die to reunite a country that doesn't want to be reunited.
Most of them are probably from far eastern Russia. Language barrier in combination with young mind-controlled persons in a relatively far-away land means less of a issue for Russia. These kids don't want to be there. But if Papa Putin says, "Put them down," these guys who have no affiliation with Ukraine or any other former territory won't ask twice before racking around and sending the usual Russian welcome package.
What an echelon in this context.
50 to 90 troops apparently. Smaller than a company. Similar, if larger than our platoon. Edit. I can't find great sources on this. See below. Mentions the number I said, however, it certainly might be different in the Russian army. Possible relevant further information. Others who replied to me might be right.
More intriguing than the raw numbers is where they're from, Russia's Eastern Military District EAMD. Like, the Far East, Asian part of Russia like Buryatia. When is the last time they've been forward deployed to Belarus? It's never happened in Zapad or any strategic exercise that I can recall. They did deploy EAMD troops to the Donbas in 2014 though.
A page out of the Chinese Tiananmen Square playbook. Bring troops from far away and who will have no possible ties or allegiances to local resistance.
It's actually a page out of the Soviet playbook. The same happened during the 1968 invasion of Czechoslovakia. The actual reason is that the enemy speaks the same language. Most Czechs were taught Russian at the time. You need soldiers who are culturally distant and young, so they can't be communicated with as effectively, or otherwise they might be ideologically compromised.
It's actually a page out of the Roman Empire's book, as they used to do a similar thing whereby they'd send Gauls to the east and North Africans to England, also they had no allegiance to anyone nearby.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.